All right, welcome back, friends. My name is Sarah. If I haven't yet met you, or if you haven't flowed with me yet, welcome. Today's going to be about a 30-minute full body deep stretch. So we are going to take a little bit of time actually starting standing today, but what you'll need for class are a couple of blocks. And then if you have a strap or a strap-like item, it could just be a towel even. If you do have a strap or a belt, loop it around so that you've got, let me see if I can hang it here so you can see it, there we go. Loop it around so that you have one loop here, and then that way when we use it later, it'll already be set up in the way that we need. We'll try to catch a hold of our back foot today, so having the strap available is going to help you extend the length of your arms and maybe catch the foot and really make that connection today. As I mentioned, we'll start out warming up sort of the feet and beginning just standing. We're going to start by alternating right and left, coming up onto the ball mound of each foot. So you can take a wider stance and then just start to lift your right heel or your right heel and then your left. Good, and then just keep alternating side to side here. You can bend your knee and kind of bend into the knee as you put weight and pressure into the ball mound of the foot. Keep going here as you just keep alternating, lifting one heel and then the other, and then we'll start to do a little bit of work so that we can warm up the toes. We spend all day walking on our feet, but we don't do a lot to take care of our feet, and our feet can tell us a lot about our body and any kind of pain or maybe misalignments that are happening that might cause pain. Good, let's do this a few more times, lifting your right, lifting your left, good, right and left. Last time, inhale, lift your right, lift your left, good. And now ground through your left heel, place the tops of your right toes onto the mat. Curling, we don't typically stretch the feet in this way. See if you can hold here. Good, take one more big breath in and then release. Go ahead and wiggle out your toes. Good, let them kind of release here, maybe bending or coming back onto the ball mound of the foot. And then replace the tops of your toes back to the earth here. Stretching out the top of your foot. And then releasing, wiggle out your toes, bend into the knee or lift the back heel. Kind of wiggle it out there. And then place the outside of your pinky toe down to the mat. And then the inside of your big toe. And you're just going to alternate here. Outside of your right pinky toe, inside of your big toe. And keep moving the foot back and forth like this. Good. Last three. Last two, and last one. Make sure you hit up both sides, good. And then go ahead and wiggle it out a little bit. We'll change to the other side now. So first just starting with the tops of the toes. So curl your toes up and then place the top of your toes onto the mat, kind of like a ballerina stance, except I think they come all the way onto the top of their big toe there. We're not going to do that. But we are getting a nice stretch to the top of the foot, the top of the shin there. Good, and then go ahead and release, wiggle out your toes. Send blood back into your toe tips. And then one more time, bring the tops of your toes to the mat and press down. And just breathing here. Good. Starting from the feet, starting from the bottom to the top, which is how we pretty much do everything else in yoga. Mountain is usually our biggest posture where we feel that groundedness first in the feet, and then go ahead and release, wiggle your toes. Stacking everything, bone on bone, helps us to find that nice alignment to support the joints. Take the outside of your pinky toe down to the mat, and then the inside of your big toe. And just alternating here, outside of your pinky toe, inside of your big toe. Good. I promise we'll start moving here. We've got a couple more things to do. For the feet, we're going to move up into the calf and the shin area a little bit more next, taking on a wider stance. Let's do this. Last three. And last two. And last one, inside of the big toe, or whichever motion you're doing there. Just make sure you hit up both sides. Good, and then releasing, wiggle out your toes. Go ahead and face towards the top of your mat. And starting with stepping your right foot back, bring your heel down, kind of in a warrior one stance. So you are going to bend into your left knee, but what we're focusing in on is turning your back toes directly forward. So they're pointed up at 12 o'clock, grounding through the back heel. So just kind of holding here, really. You can keep your hands on your hips or just relax them down by your sides. Bend into your front knee to track your knee over your ankles. Spread your toes. And then there's a little bit of a scissor hug action as you bump your left hip back. Your right hip will come forward. As you press the right heel down into the mat, you might feel the right quad turn on for you. Lifting the kneecap up onto the thigh muscle there. Good. Hold for 2 more rounds of breath here. Let that release. Good. Last breath in. And then let that release. Keeping your stance, go ahead and turn your right toes out about at a 45-degree angle, and you might back up your foot if you feel like you're starting to get a little bit deeper into that back line of your right leg. But maintaining the groundedness of your heel and trying to keep your hips somewhat forward as we've turned the back toe. It's a little impossible for them to come fully level, but we'll do our best here. Keeping that back heel grounded. And one more big breath in. One more big breath out. You can even feel that on the front side of that right hip. Good. Now turn your toes inwards. So you're kind of pigeon-toed, but keep the back heel grounded. So for me, I know I need to shorten my stance, but we're kind of targeting this outer shin area on the right leg as we keep pressing the heel back into the mat. Inner thighs are squeezing together. Keep grounding through your right heel. One more big breath in. And then exhale. Go ahead and release. Step your right foot forward and just take your left foot straight back. So only go to where you know you can maintain the groundedness of your heels. To start, your toes are directly pointed forward at 12 o'clock. So adjust as needed. Bend into your right knee. And then again, you could place your hands on your hips, so just keep them relaxed on your sides. Spreading the right toes will help you build that foundation in your right foot. Keep the knee either right over the ankle or maybe even a little bit behind if that's too intense down the back of your left leg. Keep grounding and cementing through that back left heel here. We'll take 3 more rounds of breath before we turn the left toes out to 45 degrees. Good. Last one here. And release. Turn your left toes out to 45 degrees. That might mean that your stance goes a little bit wider, but now the toes are pointed sort of up towards the upper left corner of your mat. Try to square your hips to the front of your mat, maybe guiding your hands to your hip creases. Good, and then most importantly, right, the back heel is firmly planted into the mat. We feel that stretch. We're just breathing into the stretch we feel along the back side of our left leg here. One more full breath in. One more full breath out. And then if you need to shorten your stance, turn your left toes all the way off to the right. So you're almost kind of pigeon-toed, right? You can keep your right knee bent. And this whole left leg is sort of turning off to the long edge side, the right long edge side of our mat. Keep the back heel grounded, most importantly. Different sensation on the front of the shin here. Breathe into that opening, that inner line of the leg. Good, last breath in. Stay for your breath out. And then go ahead and step to the top, or feet together. Let's go ahead and travel to the back of our mat, walking your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance, and then begin to hinge at your hips, softening your knees, forward fold, hands come all the way down to the earth. Tuck your chin to your throat and let your crown hang heavy towards the floor. Keep a micro bend or even a generous bend in your knees as we continue to warm up from the feet up through the legs now. And slowly we're going to move into our back body. But it might bend into the right knee, straighten the left leg, do the same to the opposite side. Shake out your head yes and no here. Inhale, lift halfway and take 3 big steps out to high plank, or I guess out to downward facing dog instead. Inhale your right, then your left, and then your right. Good. If you need to, step your feet a little closer together, about hip width distance, so think 2 fist width in between. And then just start by pedaling out through your knees here, bending into your right knee, getting into the back now, bending into your left knee, reaching the opposite heels towards or on the back of your mat. Do this several times on each side. Spreading your palms nice and wide, press down into your finger pads, your knuckle pads. Press up and away with the heels of your palms, inviting your low ribs towards your upper thighs. And then keep that long line of energy shooting out through your tailbone. Try to reach it up and back to where the ceiling and the wall connect behind you. No need is there for the heels to touch your mat ever. But as you reach the opposite heel, feel that work we've just done, stretching through the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. And then just begin to find a place of stillness. So soft micro bend in your knees. Send your tailbone up and back. Wrap your tricep muscles, your upper arm muscles down. So think about squeezing the armpits in and up towards your ears. Inhale. Shift forward. Come out into a high plank position. Bring your shoulders to stack over your wrists. And then step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Help it up there if it needs. Mine got caught on my mat there. Lower your right knee down. Great place to stay on your palms, or if the floor is far away, grab one of those blocks and bring it underneath of your palms and just lift up brightly through your chest. So hands stay on the inside of the foot, but we will let the weight of our hips come forward. You want to ensure that your left knee is tracking over your ankle. You can turn your toes off the mat and keep your heel on. Avoid crunching your shoulders up and in towards your ears, and instead move them down your back. If you like, you can always bring that other block if that feels more supportive to you, and know that your blocks have different levels, right? So 3rd level is going to lift us up a little bit higher. This feels nice in my spine. As you exhale, start to straighten your left leg. Keep your leg wide, but if you've got blocks, you might take them around to frame your foot. And then just bow down towards your left big toe. Flexing your left foot so that your toes curl back towards your knee. Keep a soft micro bend in your left knee to not hyperextend. And imagine scissor hugging your left hip back, right hip forward. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. Inhale, lunge forward into your front knee. Bring your hands back on the inside. Lift up tall through your chest. You might even gaze up towards the ceiling if that feels okay on the back of your neck. And then one more time, exhale, send your hips back, lengthen your left leg, and bow forward in this wide-legged half splits, maybe coming on to forearms. Keep the energy through the muscle of your leg by flexing the foot. Keep that micro bend to protect the joint. Inhale, come back up nice and tall. Lunge forward one more time, pausing here, and then return to your tabletop position. Bring your left knee your left knee in line with your right. You can set your blocks over to the side. And then let's extend the legs back one at a time. Come back into that high plank. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand and lower your left knee down. Now again, you can grab those blocks or you can go without blocks, up to you. Sometimes I like to just stay on my fingertips and really work the shoulder blades together. Let the weight of your hips come forward to get that big opening through not only the top and front of your left hip, but it's a big compression in the right hip, as I'm sure you're feeling here yourself. Take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, keep the leg wide, but sit your hips back. You might draw your torso to the right as you frame your front foot and leg. Flex your right foot so you've got dorsiflexion in the leg. Soften your right knee, and even though we're stretching the hamstring, the hips are really active. So scissor hug your right hip to the back left corner. Left hip will bump forward on its own. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Last one. We'll come back to this. Inhale, come forward, bring your hands on the inside of your foot. Lift up through your chest, maybe lift your gaze this round. Pull your shoulder blades onto your back body, down and away from your earlobes. Add any support that you need. And then last time as you inhale, lengthen back into that wide-legged half splits. Keep the energy through the muscle of the leg. No locking out through the joint. You can always roll up your mat for extra cushioning under your left knee or set a blanket there. Good. Inhale, lunge forward into your front knee. Bring your hands back underneath of your shoulders and then return your knees back underneath of your hips. Find your tabletop position. Go ahead and sit to one side. I'm going to face towards you. We're going to take our right knee forward and then bring your left knee to bend behind so your left knee lands in front of your right foot here. To start, we're going to directly fold over our front leg and shin. So if along the way you'd like a block, go ahead and set it under your chest or under your forehead. This is kind of like half pigeon pose, but it's a nice way to modify by bending into the back knee. Keep your right foot flexed so that there's protection in the knee and the hip joint. We're only here for 2 more breaths. Last one. And then inhale, come back up to a nice tall seat. As you exhale, twist towards your bent knee all the way around until you can't twist anymore. And then stretch your left arm up and over. So if you're twisting over your left knee, your right arm is reaching up and over, but you're twisting towards your front bent knee. This big lateral opening through the left side waist. And then return back to the front of the room. This time, bring your left hand behind you and reach your right arm up and over your ear line. Keep your right shoulder stacked on your left, but now reach towards your back foot. Keep both sits bones grounded and feel this big lateral opening now on your right side. Inhale here. And exhale, go ahead and come back up to a nice tall seat. We're just going to switch this out. So what you can do is bring your hands behind you and simply draw your knees over to the left. Good. All right, so we're starting with just a simple forward fold over our left shin. So you'll have to kind of locate where your left shin is. And then hinging at your hips, fold directly forward here. Stay relaxed through your face, neck, and jaw muscles and take 3 more rounds of breath where you're at. Last 2 here. And last 1. Exhale, press back onto your palms, lift back up to a nice tall seat. Continue to turn all the way towards your left knee, maybe even reaching your hands behind. As you ground through your back palm, reach your top front arm up and over your ear line. So you're kind of gazing and leaning back to get this big, nice stretch through your whole right side body. And one more big breath in. And then as you exhale, come back to face the front of the room. Ground your right palm, lift your left arm up and over. I might be opposite as I'm not mirroring you, just so that I was keeping my left and rights correct here as well. But I know I'm saying the right and left. The correct right and left. Big lateral opening through your left side body here. Good. Before we come out of this posture, go ahead and release this posture and bring your hands down, turning over your left knee. But before you do so, grab your strap and grab a block. Bring your block in front of you and take a hold of your strap. Start to turn yourself towards your left knee. You can lift up onto your left knee. This isn't quite pigeon, but it is sort of what we know as our half pigeon. I'm setting a block in front of my knee and I'm lifting it to where I can lift my chest up. And the higher that I lift here, the more likelihood I can grab my loop strap, bend into my back knee, and then you can take the rest of your strap and kind of strap it over your shoulder like a backpack. So now you have got the option to pull your heel in closer, only to a degree that feels good to you. Otherwise, you might be able to just reach your right hand back, grab a hold of the foot, and squeeze using your right bicep, your right heel closer to your glute. One more big breath in, and then exhale. Go ahead and release. You can put your strap to the side, sit all the way onto your left hip, and let's switch it out to make sure we even it out on this side. Place your block in front of your right knee. Maybe set up your strap. You can loop your foot now if you like. And then as you turn forward to face now the top of your mat, as you scoot your leg back like you would in a half pigeon, you can either stay upright on your right knee, or if it feels okay to keep the hip down, you can keep the hip down. With your looped foot or ankle, slide your strap over your left shoulder. And this might be enough for you, right? You may not need to even pull the strap a little closer or bring the heel closer. If you're feeling crunchy in your low back, try to lift your block up and sit up taller. If you've got space, reach your left hand back to receive the foot or ankle, and then use your left bicep to pull your heel closer to your left glute. One more big breath in, and one more full breath out. Go ahead and release your foot if you have a hold of it. Take your strap over to the side, lengthen your back leg, and set your block over to the side. Go ahead and swing your back leg all the way around, and I'm going to turn to face towards you. Soles of your feet together, grab a hold of your ankles, sit up tall, and then exhale, hinge at your hip creases, fold forward. Option to press your elbows into your thighs to open up your inner groins. Keep your spine nice and long. Pinch your shoulder blades onto your back. One more inhale. And you can let your head and neck just kind of hang heavy here. Exhale to release. Let's take one more full breath cycle in. And one more full breath cycle out. Inhale, return up back to tall to a nice tall seat. And then keeping a hold of your ankles, lean all the way over to the right. Keep your shoulder blades stacked, sits bones grounded, and then take this up and over to the other side. So kind of like the hands on a clock. Tick tock, right and left. You're getting this big lateral opening. We're also getting into the QT muscles that sit right above the hip bones. If you've been practicing with me, you know I've probably said it before, those muscles love to be overstretched, so just be mindful as you lean. And now inhale, come back up to a nice tall seat. Gather your knees together and up. And let's actually, I'll mirror you, so straighten out through your legs, bend your right knee in, and cross the foot over your left. You can keep this left leg long, or you can bend it in. Reach your left arm up to the sky, bring your right hand next to your tailbone, and then twist off to your right, either wrapping the arm around or hooking the elbow in front of your thigh. Use your inhale to sit up tall. Press the crown of your head up. Exhale to pull your belly in and twist a little deeper. 2 more breaths. Wringing everything out. Big inhale. And exhale to twist. As you return to center, hug your right knee into your chest. Kind of pick it up and pull it in. And if you want a little bit more, loop your arms around and kind of cradle the baby, right? So you can take your left hand and grab your foot. You can take your right arm and wrap it around, or you could interlace your fingers in front of the shin and kind of cradle your baby here side to side. A big outer hip opener in this right side, kind of like half pigeon. When you're ready, go ahead and lengthen your right leg and then your left leg. Bend your left knee in. Cross your foot over your right knee until the sole of the foot lands on the earth. Again, you can keep your right leg long, or you can lean and bend in. Just make sure both sits bones are rooted into the floor. Take your left hand behind you, kickstand yourself up taller. Inhale, sweep your right arm up. And exhale, either wrap your right arm around your knee or hook it in front of your knee and use it as a lever to help you twist a little bit deeper. Full breath in, try not to crank your neck. Full breath out, 2 more, just like that. Inhale here. And exhale. 1 more inhale. Exhale, go ahead and release back to center. Grab a hold of your front knee, lift it up and pull it into your chest. If you're not feeling enough here, take your knee wider, grab a hold of your foot with your right hand, or you could loop underneath if you wanted. I like to take the arm to support the knee, or if you have the space, bring your foot into your right elbow, interlace your hands, and cradle your baby. Side to side, a little rock here. We'll do a couple more postures today. Your cool down or your savasana, your quiet time will be on your own. So I encourage you to stay. But before we finish, go ahead and lengthen both legs long. Give them a little shake. We've done a lot of work for the legs today. And then return to your tabletop position. Take your knees wide. Really wide, so almost mat width distance apart. Walk your palms forward, enough so that you can let your hips begin to drop. And then as they start to drop, if you need to adjust and kind of lift your kneecaps up, right? Start to straighten out your legs and allow your hips to melt towards the floor, but stay lifted up through the crown of your head and spine. This is called seal pose. And if you're at all feeling crunchy in your low back, simply lower down onto your forearms and make sure that your elbows are stacked right under your shoulders. You can still draw the heart forward between the arms and feel that opening through your low back. Otherwise, you could lift up. Maybe you take the feet and the hands a little bit wider so that the crunchiness we avoid here. Pull your navel in and up towards your spine to help you avoid that sensation in the low back. 1 more big breath in. And then as you exhale, lower down onto elbows. Bring your hands under your shoulders and press up and back into a child's pose. Knees could be wide or knees could be together. Allow your forehead to rest, your elbows and palms. Allow everything to hang heavy here. Take a big breath into your kidneys, balloon into your back body. And then as you exhale, open mouth, exhale, let it go. As I mentioned, your shavasana, your quiet time is on your own. So I encourage you, if this is the place where you typically come up and turn the video off, I'm guilty of it myself, especially when I'm practicing at home. I challenge you to just let the video end and see if you can pause for the next 5 minutes. As much as movement is important in our lives, stillness is equally as important, so that we have the time to connect into that inner source and really listen. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me, yogis. Until we meet again, namaste.